one.
Hi, I'm a pilot for Pilots N Paws. My name is Barbara Santa Maria.
Hi, Barbara. So how did you get involved with Pilots N Paws?
I have always wanted to help animals of any kind, and I tried to volunteer to a few different organizations since I'm lucky enough to have my own twin-engine Cessna, and it just wasn't going anywhere until I found Pilots N Paws, and have so far done 2 very rewarding missions and hope to do more in the future.
Great. How long have you been flying for the organization?
Just joined, I'd say within the last 6 months, because like I said, I had tried other volunteer organizations and they just weren't very responsive. And I gave up, kind of just like pulling teeth. So I thought, no, if I'm offering my time and they're not responding, why am I killing myself? And then I got onto the site with Pilots N Paws, got used to that, and was hooked up with these 2 ladies in Vidalia who run a pity rescue. And they had connected with a lady in Vero Beach who runs the Humane Society, who was willing to take the pity rescues. And they needed a pilot. They posted in that forum, and we did the first mission, and it went really, really well. So then we did another one 3 weeks later.
Great. So what is your favorite part of flying for Pilots N Paws?
My favorite part, I actually thought my favorite part would be meeting the dogs, but to tell you the truth, I have to focus on flying because it keeps you busy, as you'll find out when you start your training. So I have to have a co-pilot with me who looks after the dogs, so I don't actually connect with them as much as I thought that I would. But it's very gratifying to know that they are going to get adopted out and have their forever homes. And Kate at the Vero Beach Humane Society, she sends us little updates on how they're doing, and the puppies grow so quickly. And so it's just nice to think that you can help these poor defenseless animals who are sometimes found in abandoned buildings or just left at the side of the road. I know recently Vero Beach had to take in a crate stuffed full of 26 dogs that had been just left at the side of the road in Palm Beach, Florida. So there's just so many animals that are in need of help. So I can do my little bit, and I love to fly. So it's a good excuse to go flying.
Great. So would you say that flying for Pilots N Paws influenced your life in any way? And if so, how?
The influence, I'd say, has been mostly the gratification that I'm doing good. So I'm not just going for breakfast at some airport, what we used to call $100 hamburgers, but it's more like a $500 hamburger now with the cost of avgas. But I'm actually doing it, something I love to do, and I'm helping another living creature, and I do believe that dogs in particular are God's divine gift to us mere mortals.
Wow, what a great way to put it. So let's say that there's someone on the fence thinking about flying for Pilots N Paws, but they're kind of on the fence. What would you say to that person?
I'd say to give it a try, because there's, people often ask me, because I'm a flight instructor as well, what does it take to learn to fly? Well, it takes 3 things. It takes time, money, and motivation. You need to have all 3 or you will not succeed. You can have all the money in the world. If you don't have the time, you don't have the motivation, you're just not going to complete it. And I have my own stats to back that up. Now, I would say the same thing for wanting to fly as a volunteer pilot. You're paying. The expense is all yours. It's volunteer, not only of your time, but for the fuel costs and any other costs that you might incur. And you have to be aware of and weigh what the benefit is to the, I'm not going to call it negative aspect. There's nothing really negative about it, but I think you need to define what you can afford and make your legs that you accept to take fit your budget. I guess that's the best way I can explain it.
Yeah, absolutely. A great way of putting it. And And I also heard that you got in touch with a couple people at rescues down where you live, and you've got to talk with them a bit. If there's a rescue out there who has been doing transports from different states and who might be a bit anxious or a bit reluctant to have their dogs go in a plane, cats go in a plane, uh, why should they choose Pilots N Paws, and why should they use planes to transport their animals versus just driving?
Driving would be fine for a short distance, but for example, we came from Melbourne, Florida. We flew to Vidalia, Georgia. That took me just under 2 hours in my twin engine Cessna. To drive there probably would have taken 6 to 8 hours. That's a long time for the dogs to be left crated, and you'd have to probably stop on the way and let them out. And so they initially are nervous when they get in the plane because obviously they don't know what's going on, but you try to make them comfortable. And generally, once you've taken off, they fall asleep. Now, we've been learning as we go, because the little tiny puppies don't stay still. So they'll crawl under the seats, or they'll try to hop out of the containers, that because we didn't want them in crates, but it may end up that that's what we have to put them in comfortably, because the other ways that we've tried to transport them have been problematic because of the puppies getting all over the place, and they certainly do make a mess as well.
Great. So that's all I have in terms of questions about Pilots N Paws. But just wondering, are you a dog or cat person?
Oh, I'm a dog person without a doubt. How
Great.
about you?
I am a dog person. Do you have a favorite breed?
I've always had big dogs. I inherited an English bulldog from my son, who I never would have thought of getting, but happened to be the most interesting, perhaps, of all the dogs I've ever owned, since they're in no way normal. They just don't behave like normal dogs. They're good old souls, and they have all sorts of medical difficulties, but they're precious. I don't think I've ever met a dog I didn't really feel fond of. And that was one of my worries, actually, flying for Pilots N Paws. I thought, oh, I'm going to want to take them all home. But that hasn't happened for the reasons I gave you earlier, is because I've had to focus almost exclusively on flying. And when you arrive at Melbourne, the Vero Beach van from the Humane Society, it's already there, and the dogs come out in a very short break, and then they're right in the van. So there's very little time to bond with them.
Great. So let me see. Do I have any more questions? So in conclusion, do you enjoy flying for Pilots N Paws?
Yeah, I love it, actually. I wasn't sure how I would feel, and there's always challenges when you're flying. The weather, and the weather never does what they say it's going to do. Will something break down with the airplane? The best laid plans cannot necessarily be carried out as you might have hoped. And they have a saying in aviation, hurry up and wait. So you can do all the preparation, which is pretty time consuming, and checking with flight service to make sure everything's up to date. Weather is really one of the most important things about flying, especially in areas like Florida, where there's a lot of convective activity at this time of the year. And that's dangerous, even to the big jets that fly around. So I think that you just need to keep all that in mind when you're planning a flight, and let your people know on either end, the rescue that we're waiting for the transport, and the rescuers who are coming to meet you, that the plans may have to change on a dime, and they're generally pretty good about that.
Great. Well, that's all the questions I have. Thank you, Miss Barbara, so much for your time and for flying all of these puppies and helping save their lives and helping fly them to their forever homes. So thank you so much.
Anything for puppies. Yeah. And thanks for doing this to you, Matthew, as well.
Yep, no problem. Thank you so much.